The state of goalkeeping in FC26 has been awful, and we need to talk about it. I believe this year has been one of the worst years for the FC series, and especially for pro clubs, if not the worst year. With horrible gameplay features such as Bruiser Plus, making shoulder barges ridiculously overpowered, infinite stamina being a thing which I still have no idea who thought that was a good idea for a competitive game mode, and many more issues. But my primary focus is going to be on pro clubs and its goalkeeping, as that is my specialty. But before we get into it, I'd like to thank this video sponsor, the Simulation Premier League. The Simulation Premier League is a text-based football game where you make your own player and guide their development as they make their way to the top. You'll make your player, choose their position and archetype, and start off in the academy where you'll play games every single day until managers from the main leagues offer you a contract to play for them. The league is relatively new with the start of Season 2 right around the corner, so make sure you sign up to not fall behind. When making your player, make sure to add my username Starvision in the referred by who section. I hope to see you there, and once again, a big thank you to the SPL for sponsoring this video. Goalkeeping this year is in the worst state it has ever been in, and while there are some close contenders for that spot, FC26 definitely takes it because the way it has been designed is fundamentally flawed to the point where neither side of players are happy with it. Strikers think GK is overpowered, while goalkeepers themselves think they are underpowered, broken, and inconsistent. And the problem is that neither of them are wrong. I'll explain what I mean later in the video. When it comes to goalkeeping specific issues, EA pushed two major updates. The first one came a full month after the game was released, when goalkeepers were completely broken. You couldn't claim through balls properly, you couldn't deal with long balls, crosses or corners, basic saves were inconsistent. If the ball deflected off of your own defender, your goalkeeper often had no reaction at all. Most of the time, your own defenders blocking the shot felt like a bigger threat than the opposition striker. Dive delay was even worse than it is now. Passbacks could roll into your goal while your goalkeeper just stood there, and that's only some of the issues that are part of the list. A patch eventually addressed some of these problems, but it didn't truly fix them. It felt more like putting a band-aid on a much bigger issue and then calling it a day. Then the second major goalkeeper patch came about another month later, mainly to make the new goalkeeping system somewhat functional with other camera options than Pro. After that, we got nothing meaningful. EA said they were shifting their focus towards FC27, meaning there would be no more major goalkeeping changes until the next game. That was set on December 18th, 2025, which is 3 months into the game's life cycle. So for the remaining months of FC26, goalkeepers were basically left with an unfinished and flawed system. The level of neglect toward clubs this year has been unbelievable. Pro clubs has always been treated badly compared to other modes, but this year felt like something else entirely. EA has made a big decision by leaving FC26 in this state while focusing on FC27. I genuinely hope FC27 is a much better game. I want goalkeeping to be good. I want pro clubs to be fun, and I want both goalkeepers and outfield players to enjoy the game. But if FC27 has the same problems after all of this, I think it's going to blow up in their face big time. Now, let's get into the details of what is actually wrong with goalkeeping this year and why it matters so much. I think dive delay is the biggest offender for GK being as bad as it is this year, and I'm sure every single goalkeeper will agree with me on this. For those of you who have no idea what dive delay even is, dive delay is, as the name suggests, against certain types of shots from certain ranges, no matter what your dive input is. Your goalkeeper will stare at the ball as it goes in, and then it will decide to dive way after the opponent has already scored. The easiest way you can tell you've been hit by dive delay is to look at the animation of your goalkeeper. Almost every single time the shot will go past them, then they will stick a leg out, and before they naturally hit the ground, they will teleport to the ground in the middle of their save animation.
I've fallen and I can't get up!
This is an issue that has been added to the game since the beta of FC26 with the new goalkeeping mechanics. It looks terrible and it feels even worse. This issue has been in the game since the FC26 beta with the new goalkeeping mechanics. A lot of people have brought it up to EA, including some of the biggest goalkeeper creators such as It's Superfly, talking about it both privately and publicly, and somehow it has still been in the game for an entire year. I consider dive delay a game-breaking issue that should have been patched a long time ago, but has stuck around for the entire lifespan of the game. This is the first thing that needs to be removed from the game, as it takes away the control from your goalkeeper and makes it look like you did nothing and are too slow to make the save, when in reality it's the game not letting you do anything about it. The way Goalkeeper has been designed in FC26 is massively flawed, and it starts with the new build system. In previous versions of the game, keepers were balanced by having the maximum diving attribute capped to a certain number depending on their height. For example, if they were 6'7", their max diving was 91, 6'5" to 6'6" was 92, 6'3" to 6'4" was 93, 6'1" to 6'2", 94, 5'11" to 6 foot was 95, etc. The diving attribute is what influences how far your keeper can dive, and it is the most important attribute for them. So the previous system was surprisingly good at keeping it balanced. The taller you were, the less distance you could dive, but you had more natural reach against top corner shots. Meanwhile, shorter builds like 6 foot to 6'4" had less natural reach and needed better positioning, but the extra diving attribute made it so they could dive much further and make some wonder saves that the taller heights couldn't. So depending on how you wanted to play, and if you wanted the potential of making some insane saves that the taller builds couldn't, you could choose to play shorter builds, while if you wanted the extra reach and didn't mind the lower diving attribute, you could play tall builds. This gave some diversity to GK builds and allowed for them to have unique builds depending on the way they wanted to play and what they felt comfortable on. Now, since you can push your diving all the way up to 99 no matter your height, that creativity has been taken away, and most people just settle for max height and minimum weight to have that natural reach as well as the super far diving distance you get with 99 diving. It also doesn't help that the new system completely contradicts previous versions of the game, where if you were tall, you'd have less diving, by making it so that shorter builds get a much smaller diving bonus, while being taller gives you a bigger diving bonus, which makes no sense and ruins the balance of it all. This should be reverted to the previous version, and diving should be capped to a certain number depending on your height. Another feature I have mixed feelings about is the blue indicator. I actually like the idea behind it. In theory, it helps goalkeepers recognize when the striker is about to shoot. That can be useful, especially for players who don't have the fastest reaction time in real life. It gives you a signal that you should be ready to use the right stick and prepare for the shot, as well as the direction you should be diving. The problem is the execution. Sometimes the indicator shows the wrong direction, which can ruin your dive. And when it does work properly, it becomes one of the main things outfield players points toward when they say goalkeepers are overpowered. I think a better version of this system would be a softer warning that tells you when a shot is coming, without giving away the direction of the shot, similar to the system that I believe FIFA 15 and 16 had. The goalkeeper should still have to read the direction, anticipate the timing, position correctly, and react well. That way, keepers still get a useful tool, but there is also a bigger skill gap between players who can read the game and react properly and players who can't. And then there's far reach. This one is a bit difficult for me because I understand what EA were trying to do. In previous games, far reach was basically useless. Almost nobody used it because it barely activated and didn't feel worth it. In FC26, EA finally made it functional, and in some ways, that's a good thing. It gives goalkeepers a reason to use the playstyle, and it creates those clutch super save moments. But I think it is currently overtuned. The problem is that goalkeepers can already reach 99 diving on almost every build. When you add far reach on top of that, it becomes too much. It often activates when the goalkeeper is badly out of position and still allows them to cover an unrealistic amount of distance. You can almost be hugging one post and still get an animation that takes you across the goal with perfect coverage. That's why some leagues like VPG have introduced restrictions where they limit goalkeeper height to 6'4" and completely ban far reach, both silver and gold. Those restrictions have helped, but they also show there is a deeper balance issue. If leagues have to ban certain playstyles and restrict heights just to make the position feel fair, then something clearly isn't right. In my opinion, if diving was capped properly again and far reach was slightly tuned down, goalkeeping would be in a much better place. Keepers would still be able to make great saves, but the position wouldn't feel as broken from the striker's perspective. There are also many other bugs that ruin the goalkeeping experience. Chip shots, rainbow flicks, players dribbling directly into the goal without shooting once. All situations and shots where your goalkeeper will simply refuse to react. There are so many issues that I could honestly make an hour-long video about just listing them all. I'm not going to go through every single one in detail here, but they do exist and they have made goalkeeping frustrating for a lot of players this year. Like I mentioned earlier, the club's community is very divided on the state of goalkeepers. Outfield players, especially strikers who don't play much goalkeeper, often think the position is overpowered, takes no skill, and needs to be nerfed heavily. On the other side, goalkeepers who mainly play the position but not much else feel like goalkeeping is broken, inconsistent, and underpowered. And you know what I think? I think both sides are right, and that is the biggest problem. EA have managed to design goalkeeping in a way where the people playing the position feel like they don't have enough control, while the people playing against goalkeepers feel like they're too strong. That should not be happening. A good goalkeeper system should feel fair from both sides. The goalkeeper should feel in control of their saves and mistakes. The striker should feel like good finishing, smart shot selection, and composure can still beat the goalkeeper. Right now, FC26 doesn't consistently achieve that balance. So to show both perspectives, I decided to talk to other goalkeepers and outfield players and include their opinions as well. For the goalkeeper side, I was able to reach out to Anaconda GK, the owner of one of the biggest club's goalkeeper communities on Discord, which I'll leave the link to in the description. This is his thoughts on the current state of goalkeeping. And for the striker side, I wanted to get the perspective of one of the top strikers I know in the Iranian community. He's someone who, similar to me, is an absolute nerd when it comes to the ins and outs of the game and specific game mechanics. He also has his own YouTube channel where he covers both clubs and Ultimate Team metas, and he is the coach of the current team I play for, Azadi. That player is Omid-X. So I wanted to ask him directly, what is his perspective as a striker when it comes to human goalkeepers in FC26? And this is what he had to say.
Hey there, Starvision. Hello everyone. Thanks for having me on the channel. So when it comes to goalkeeping on this year's installment of the game, FC26 that is, I've got a few pieces to say. As a main striker on Pro Clubs for more than 10 years, and I've been playing comp for like a good 4 or 5 years now, and in all of those years on FIFA, I've never seen such a ridiculously unbalanced goalkeeper state. On one side, you got a 6'7" goalkeeper with 99 diving stat and a gold far reach playstyle plus. You pair that with a newly added indicator in the game which lets the goalkeeper know the direction of the shot that's not been taken yet. Yeah, try to make that make sense. So you got goalkeepers who'll dive like prime Clark Kent on Krypton level steroids, and they already know the shot direction before the animation has even started. So as a striker, it's like facing the love child of Superman and Flash at the same time every time I shoot. So yeah, it's easy to say goalkeepers are overpowered, but then on the other hand, you got the first time shots that somehow break the goalkeeper animations. You got the dive delay that somehow randomly disables goalkeepers. And you got the air balls, as in chip shots and crosses, that goalkeepers are having a hard time dealing with. And then the stupid mechanic where you can just walk the ball in and the goalkeeper can't do much about it. Whereas normally, these type of shots would have been the easiest saves on any previous FIFA. So all the above makes for a ridiculously unbalanced experience, both for the goalkeepers and the strikers alike. Like, everyone on the higher end of competitive pro clubs, they're just relying on bugs and glitches and exploits to score goals. It's as simple as that. And here's my take. EA, please. This is such an easy concept. Just make it so that when you shoot a logical shot from a logical spot inside the box and you load enough power for it, just make it so that it goes in 8 times out of 10. It's a simple concept, and it's actually good for the goalkeepers because there's going to be more of a skill gap to it. They're going to be goalkeepers who can save 5 out of those 10 logical shots, and also keepers who can save 0. So this way the goalkeepers will have something to grind for, and the strikers would actually have a chance to score without exploiting bugs and glitches, just simply with doing a logical shot from a logical angle. So yeah, that's my take on FC26 goalkeepers. I hope that made sense. Again, thank you Starvision for having me on the channel. Cheers everyone.
In conclusion, the new goalkeeping system is flawed and has ruined the game balance in a way that makes everyone unhappy, and there need to be some changes made. From what I've heard about people who played the FC27 beta, there have been no changes to goalkeeping, whether it's game balance or bug fixes, which means we're going to be dealing with the same issues as FC26. The point of this video was to shed light on some of the many issues goalkeeping in pro clubs has, and I want there to be some noise made for EA to hear, and hopefully with enough people sharing the same sentiment, EA will decide to make good changes that make the game fun for both outfielders and goalkeepers, and not abandon it early into FC27's life cycle the same way they did with FC26. If you're someone who wants the same thing from EA, share this video around with your friends, your team, and whoever else you know that likes clubs. I'm optimistic that if we can make enough noise about these issues, EA will actually listen. So I'd appreciate if you showed this video to everyone you can. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss out on my future content, whether it's my goalkeeper guides or 11v11 comp videos. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.